Imagine pouring your soul into something for years, maybe even decades. Every morning, long before the sun rises, you're at the pit, lighting that fire. You've sacrificed friendships, family time, and everything you have to get the fire just right. Your brisket is flawless, your ribs unbeatable, and your community, they know you by name. Your barbecue isn't just food, it's your legacy, your life's work. Then, Texas Monthly drops the top 50 barbecue list. For pitmasters across the Lone Star State, this could be what they have dreamed of or their worst nightmare. It could mean long lines out the door, instant fame, and the realization of a lifelong goal. Or it could be total silence, a crushing blow to everything they've worked for. In the center of it all, there stands one man, Daniel Vaughn, the magazine's legendary barbecue editor.
My job is to drive around the state, fly around the state, and try all the barbecue that I can. I'm Daniel Vaughn. I am the barbecue editor at Texas Monthly.
His single review can make you famous or for some a change of careers. But how did one person gain such immense authority over an entire state's most beloved food? To really grasp this monumental turning point in Texas barbecue, we need to go back to the very beginning, long before Vaughn became the respected and feared barbecue snob. Before Daniel Vaughn, Texas barbecue existed in a world defined by quiet, powerful tradition. It was a time when barbecue wasn't a business, it was a way of life. Passed down through generations, each family had their secret rub, their perfect techniques, and took pride in their craft. You didn't need a critic to tell you where the best barbecue was, because it was the place everyone in town talked about, where the first bite was an instant vibe, a genuine personal flavor that felt like you belonged. Back then, there wasn't a single voice guiding you across the state. Instead, there were many. You had bloggers and respected writers like Rob Walsh, who chronicled the heart and soul of Texas barbecue. Passionate barbecue lovers like Daniel Vaughn, who wrote for the love of the craft. The idea of a line wrapping around a building or a magazine list that could make a small-town pitmaster famous, that was a dream, not a reality. The best spots didn't need a critic stamped. They earned their reputation by the people. But that was all about to change. A new kind of power was about to rise, thanks to a young architect with a passion for smoked meat and a life-changing bite of brisket. Little did he know he would ignite a revolution. Before he was the barbecue snob, Daniel Vaughn was just a regular guy, a licensed architect from Ohio, a transplant in Texas with no ties to the barbecue world. Like many others, he came for the barbecue, the legendary barbecue that everyone raved about. His first taste in 2001 at Peggy Sue's in Dallas was good, but it didn't ignite anything inside him. It wasn't the life-changing experience he'd come to expect. No, that moment would come later, in 2006, at Louis Mueller Barbecue. One bite of brisket, perfectly smoked, tender, with that deep, smoky flavor, and something inside him shifted. He called it his barbecue epiphany. The feeling of that single bite was so profound, so transformative, it became more than just a meal. It was a calling. He was hooked, and this craving for the perfect bite set him on a mission. But the journey to find another taste that good turned out to be harder than he ever imagined. The search consumed him. He began driving hundreds of miles every weekend, diving deeper into the world of Texas barbecue, exploring hole-in-the-wall joints and famous landmarks, tasting brisket, ribs, and sausage. His blog, Full Custom Gospel Barbecue, became his outlet, his personal journey of discovery. He even recorded his thoughts on a tape recorder. He wanted to capture every nuance of each flavor, each bite, with the kind of passion only a true believer could have. His honest, no-nonsense reviews began to attract a following. Barbecue lovers trusted his judgment. His raw, unfiltered opinions became the compass for anyone serious about barbecue. The idea of making a career out of this passion, of becoming the barbecue critic for Texas, sounded crazy. But then in 2012, he pitched his idea to the editors of Texas Monthly. 5 months later, he had a contract. Leaving his career as an architect wasn't easy. He had a stable job, a career that people could understand. When he told his young daughter that he was quitting to become a barbecue editor, she just looked at him and said, "Barbecue isn't a job. And she wasn't alone. The world didn't see barbecue as a career. It was a hobby, a passion, not a serious profession. But Vaughn didn't see it that way. He felt the weight of his decision of walking away from the life he'd built to take on something uncharted and uncertain. He felt the weight of the responsibility too. As the barbecue editor for Texas Monthly, he wasn't just tasting food. He was holding the power to shape the future of every pitmaster's dream. He threw himself into his new role with everything he had, knowing the stakes were higher than anyone could imagine. His decision would change the entire barbecue world forever. With Daniel Vaughn at the helm, Texas Monthly created something that would change the way Texas would look at barbecue. A statewide, full-time mission to find the very best barbecue in Texas. Vaughn created a list that would become the holy grail for barbecue in Texas. Every 4 years, the top 50 barbecue list is released like a thunderclap, shaking the very foundations of the Texas barbecue scene. For Pitmasters, getting on this list is like winning a gold medal at the Olympics, a rare, shining moment that could propel a small, unknown restaurant into the spotlight, bringing in huge crowds, media attention, and the kind of reputation that others spent their entire careers chasing. But how does it all work? How does Daniel Vaughn, with his razor-sharp honesty and his legendary taste buds, decide who makes the cut? The process is grueling, exhaustive, and absolutely unforgiving. Vaughn and his team of 25 trusted tasters travel across the state, visiting hundreds of barbecue joints, some famous, some hidden gems, and others barely known outside their small towns. But here's the catch. They never announce their visits. They arrive like any other customer, blending in with the crowd, ordering their food, and making their decisions based on a single unfiltered experience. This is what gives Vaughn's opinions such immense weight. His power lies in his brutal honesty, his unflinching commitment to calling it like he sees it. He's not afraid to rip apart a brisket if it's chewy, underseasoned, or, one of his more infamous critiques, it had the mouthfeel of a wet towel. That kind of brutal candor isn't just bold, it's a gift. It's why pitmasters and fans alike trust him, even when his words sting. But the power of the list, the power of Vaughn's judgment, doesn't come without consequences. As Vaughn himself has said, the list is subjective by design. There's no formula for success, no exact science. It's a gut feeling, a reaction to that one visit, that single meal. But this subjectivity is also what fuels the drama, the tension, and the heartbreak. For a small-town pitmaster whose entire life is wrapped up in the craft of barbecue, making the list can change everything. A good review means packed lines, national fame, and a future that's secured. But a bad review? That can be devastating. It can be a death sentence to a small business that's already struggling to survive. For every joint that celebrates making the list, there's another that just missed the cut, wondering what went wrong, why their brisket didn't make the grade, why their ribs didn't get the recognition they felt they deserved. The weight of that uncertainty is crushing. The stakes are sky high, and no one feels it more than the pitmasters, giving it everything they have to get on that list. For Dane's Craft Barbecue in North Texas, making the list was a great achievement. However, making the top 10 was nothing short of life-changing. Owner Ashley Weaver remembers the moment like it was yesterday. She and her husband were in separate rooms, anxiously refreshing their computers, hearts racing as the list was about to drop. When they finally saw their name, the floodgates opened. Phones started ringing off the hook, hundreds and hundreds of calls and messages from new customers eager to taste what they just discovered. They'd gone from a small backyard passion to a must-visit destination overnight. Ashley says her motto is simple: work hard, be nice, and eat barbecue.
All right, guys, here you go.
Man, there it is. You build the most eye-popping platters. It's beautiful, from the classics of barbecue to these crazy, amazing-looking sides.
The work they put in paid off in the most unexpected way, but with success came new challenges. Now they have to work even harder, keeping up with the huge crowds while still honoring the loyal customers who've been there from the start. Then there's Rossler's Blue Cord Barbecue. Stephen Rossler, a veteran and a man who served his country with pride, opened his barbecue joint with a dream and a commitment to excellence. When Rossler's Blue Cord Barbecue made the Texas Monthly Top 50 in 2025, it felt like a victory that went beyond just barbecue. It was a culmination of years of hard work, sacrifice, and personal loss. As Rossler himself put it, being named one of the best in the state was really, really special. For someone who had spent years in the military facing unimaginable challenges, this recognition was a testament to his perseverance, not just in the pit, but in life. His story is one of redemption, proving that no matter where you come from or what you've endured, if you dedicate yourself fully, you can achieve anything you want. But the emotional journey of the barbecue world isn't always this triumphant. There's also the pain of missing out. Pecan Lodge, once a proud member of the Texas Monthly Top 50, now finds itself out of the spotlight. For years, they were a staple in the Texas barbecue scene, renowned for their incredible brisket and iconic dishes. But the sting of being overlooked in recent rankings has left some loyal customers on Reddit to comment.
Since the move to Deep Ellum Pecan Lodge had to focus a little more on quantity over the consistent quality they put out at the previous location. And that's okay, they're still great. But it has opened the door for some of the lesser-known joints to step up and surpass them on overall quality.
This roller coaster of emotions is what makes the Texas Monthly Top 50 list so powerful, but also so painful. While many pitmasters respect Vaughn's authority, his blunt reviews and the strict rankings can also cause frustration, even anger. As Vaughn himself has said, the people who seem to be the most mad are those who make the top 50, but not the top 10. The pressure isn't just about making the list, it's about where you land. It's a feeling of being so close yet so far, and for those who just missed the mark, it's a constant question of what they did wrong. This kind of honesty, while respected by many, has earned Vaughn his own share of critics. He's been called a dookie snob in the comments, and while he laughs, he takes it all in stride. It serves as a reminder that in the world of Texas barbecue, the stakes are incredibly high. Everyone has an opinion, and not everyone agrees with the final judgment. Making the list is the goal, but living up to it and enduring the crushing disappointment of falling short is where the real challenge lies. Long before Daniel Vaughn became a household name at Texas Monthly, he had to fight to prove his worth in the cutthroat world of food critics. In 2010, an event that would come to be known as Barbecue Gate would put his passion, his honesty, and his unwavering commitment to his craft on full display. At the time, Vaughn was just a blogger, a passionate voice in a sea of critics and writers, fighting for recognition in a world that often dismissed him. He had built a small but loyal audience with his raw, no-nonsense approach to reviewing barbecue. But when a food critic for the powerful Dallas Morning News published a list of the best barbecue spots in the city, Vaughn's fans immediately noticed something unsettling. The list looks strikingly similar to one Vaughn had just posted on his blog. Vaughn, a man who never hesitated to speak the truth, publicly questioned whether the critic had copied his work without giving him credit. What followed was a fiery debate that ignited the Dallas food scene. It was a classic David versus Goliath story, a lone blogger taking on a major respected newspaper. But in the end, the court of public opinion sided with Vaughn. The barbecue community saw him as the hardworking, honest expert he was. Someone who wasn't afraid to stand up for the truth, even when the odds were stacked against him. That moment didn't hurt his career, no. It solidified his reputation. It proved that Vaughn's integrity wasn't just a cornerstone of his work, it was his foundation. His words carried weight, not because of his connections, but because he earned them through years of dedication and a commitment to honesty. As Vaughn himself has said, he's never been offered money to write a good review. His reputation for integrity was more valuable to him than any free meal or glowing review from a restaurant. But Vaughn's journey didn't stop there. His mission as a critic, initially focused on the barbecue joints of Texas, quickly expanded far beyond the Lone Star State. He took all of his years of traveling, tasting, and critiquing and turned them into something monumental, The Prophets of Smoked Meat, a book that wasn't just a cookbook, but a deep dive into the history, culture, and soul of Texas barbecue. This book wasn't just another food title, it was groundbreaking. It was so well respected that it became the very first title released under the legendary Anthony Bourdain's book imprint. For those who don't know, Bourdain wasn't just a chef, he was an icon, a global ambassador of food and culture. His endorsement of Vaughn's work was a validation that propelled Vaughn from being a respected Texas critic to a national authority on barbecue. With Bourdain's name behind him, Daniel Vaughn was no longer just the most feared critic in Texas. He had become a voice for the entire barbecue industry. His work had transcended regional recognition. It was proof that a deep, undying passion for barbecue could not only fuel a career, it could change an entire culture. Vaughn's journey is a testament to the power of integrity and the unwavering belief that authenticity and hard work can shape an industry. And in the world of Texas barbecue, he is loved and feared, all in one mouth-watering bite. From a passionate blogger to the most influential critic in Texas, Daniel Vaughn has shaped the very definition of great barbecue. Through his words, his honesty, and his dedication, he built a system that has not only elevated the food, but has elevated an entire culture. Vaughn raised the bar for every pitmaster, for every barbecue joint, from the quiet family-owned spots to the booming restaurants that now line the highways. As Vaughn himself has said, the floor has gotten way higher. More joints than ever are hitting that Central Texas-style tenderness. But the real question he poses for the future of Texas barbecue is, has the ceiling moved? In a world dominated by online influencers, forums, and viral food reviews, the power of one critic is no longer absolute. The authority is shifting from the singular voice of a famous critic to the collective voice of you, the person sitting at the table, sharing the meal, experiencing the flavor. The time has come to shift the focus. We've shared the journey of the critic, but now we want to hear your stories. The stories of the people behind the food, the ones who poured their hearts into perfecting their craft, and the unforgettable moments when a single bite of barbecue changed everything. So tell us in the comments below, what's the best barbecue you've ever had? And don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video and want more like it.